this is great.
This is the Stubborn German Podcast. I'm Kevin Ostie, coming to you from the always enthusiastic, energetic, and beautiful Stubborn German Brewing Company in equally all of those, Waterloo, Illinois. Joined, of course, with the proprietor of the Stubborn German Brewing Company, Mr. Chris Ron.
How's it going, Kevin?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Good.
And our esteemed producer, Mr. Jared Chasson.
Good evening.
It is a good evening.
It is.
Yeah. Because this is the second show, friends, and you know what that means.
Yeah.
Deer sausage and bourbon for everyone.
Yeah. Buckle up.
So before we get too far down the rabbit hole, which we have a lot of time structuring and planning this episode out for you.
We do.
I don't want to go off script.
No. We can do it for a second, though.
So for a second,
I'll allow it.
Launch into what we call the German Word of the Day competition.
We are launching. Okay, German word of the day is Auftritt.
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 He says with fists raised.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, I went first last time, I think.
All right, I'll go first this time.
Is that right?
Auftritt.
Auftritt.
Is there an F in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Auftritt.
I'm going to say that means see you later, alligator.
Wow.
Kevin says...
After time is what that means.
Spell see ya
After time.
Later. Okay. Jared?
I mean, I'm just winging it here. Off the cuff.
Ooh.
Off the cuff. Kind of like this episode.
Wait,
That was my
cuff.
Vergasser guess.
Right, yes.
Okay. See you later, alligator. Off the cuff.
All right.
We'll see who's right at the end of the episode.
None of us.
Just stay
tuned.
Yes.
There's only one winner here, and I think it's me.
You know, there's something wrong with the structure of this game.
No,
Yeah.
You're starting to pick up on it after how many years?
We keep saying we're going to do the Slovenian word of the day and make him guess.
Yeah.
Go, bring it on.
Okay.
I'll play.
By the way, so every once in a while we reference our listeners in Slovenia. You ever seen pictures of that place? It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah?
Is it really?
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
I would have no idea.
It's amazing. We need to go.
Like,
okay.
Is it mountainous? Is
Yes.
it a seaside? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, both of those
Green.
things. All right.
Rivers, beautifulness.
I'm sold. Let's
Oh,
do
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
On remote.
Happy, smiling people.
Happy smiling people.
I don't think what I saw was AI, too. I think it was for
No,
real.
well, yeah, you never know these days.
So that leads me into my first question.
Yeah.
And Chris, you pride yourselves here at the Stubborn German Brewing Company on sticking with traditional methods, and you got
course.
your alt beer,
Of course.
which is a time-honored, your old ledger, time-honored recipe.
Yep.
Is there any AI applications in brewing? Or implications?
Not here. There aren't.
All right.
We did have a member of the firm homebrew club, though, presented a beer. The way the format for the club works is you bring your beer in, and you just say, you write down on a sheet of paper, like this is a
prompt.
Yes.
Right.
You say, this is a pale ale. So then the beermeister delivers the beer to everybody, dishes it out, and the president says, okay, you're drinking a pale ale. What do we think about this pale ale? And then at the end, or near the end of all the feedback, so you're drinking it anonymously is the thing, then they say, okay, let's talk to the brewer about it. Well, the brewer stood up and said, okay, well, this recipe was off of AI. I just didn't know what I wanted to make, so I told AI, plugged a few things in, this is what I have, the ingredients, and it said this is the recipe.
Pretty cool.
The beer was just okay.
It was just okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, the brewer, did he have a history of making just okay beers, or did he have some knockouts?
Great brewer.
All right.
Most of his beers are very good. So yeah, this was like, kind of shocked to see this coming from him. But
right.
And it's interesting that he stuck with the AI generated recipe without adding, any schliff of his own to it.
Right. Yeah. Because he probably knew that
Where
this
to pull the
might,
levers.
Yeah, this might not be the greatest situation, but whatever. I mean, if you tell it what you have, so you're using up what you have, so that's probably what he really wanted to do. And it was drinkable. It was fine. I'm sure he drank it. I don't think he poured it out, but I don't know. He's a very good brewer. He's done like very good beers, and this was just okay.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting because there is kind of there's all these different standpoints on AI, and the panic of like what jobs it's going to eliminate,
Yeah.
and what industries it's going to impact.
The brewing jobs are safe.
Yeah, that's pretty cool
Yeah,
to
right.
know, right? You can't speed it up by saying, "Hey, AI, brew this for me right now,"
Sure.
because you're dealing with physics and chemistry and science and magic.
Well, they'd have to fix all the broken stuff around here, and only I
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, there you go.
What about at the shop? You guys use AI for anything?
Yeah.
Even if it's just Googling the answer to what carburetor goes on a...
That's a
19?
funny question because a friend of mine owns a company that manufactures scan tools and diagnostic tools that you plug into your car and it reads the stuff. And for the past 3 years, he has done a technician AI challenge in which they pitted like SAE master automotive technicians against AI. And this year the AI won like hands down.
Wow.
And one of the things that they do, this guy's brilliant, by the way. They will, some of the more popular AI platforms, you have Grok and you got Gemini and you got ChatGPT. They ask the same question to each one, and then they take all 3 of the AI generated answers, and then they have each AI platform critique all 3 and say which one's the best. So it's like a triple distilled
Wow.
Right.
answer to get seemingly the truth. I use it all the time, but where I use it is, for example, we don't do very much with like Google advertising, but we've done a little bit here and there. And recently I ran some Google ads, and I don't know, I didn't spend a lot of money on it. I spent about $100, and I let it do its thing, and it ran its course. And I took a screenshot of the results, and then I posted that to some AI engines and said, what do you think about this? And then it told me where to tweak things to make it more effective and reach the audience that I was trying to hit, right? So I do that kind of stuff. I do software modifications all the time with it. So like if I need just because I don't have time to generate a formula that analyzes like how much did we spend on parts last month by vendor, and how long did it take to deliver, and how many were wrong that we had to send back. So I just take all that data and I just throw it, upload it to an AI and say, just tell me where I need to be spending my parts money. And it'll break it all down and say, yeah, stay away from that guy. This guy's better for this.
Really?
All day long.
Do you inherently trust it, or are you like, wait a minute, that's some BS? It's telling me I need
how
to
many
buy,
times do you go through and
spend all my money on tweeters or something?
Yeah.
do some checks and balances?
Like that great episode from Taxi when Jim Ignatowski goes, you mean I spent all my money on television sets? What am I, nuts? No, you do need to double check it.
Yeah.
Generally, I feel like what I'm asking it, I already know something about.
Yeah.
And if it comes back saying, hey, you got to spend all your money on left front brake pads or something, I'll know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a tremendous time saver with busy work. Like, if I don't have time to look something up. So here's another great one on our V8 radio podcast, okay? You've heard the show.
Yeah.
Mike Cuball Clark and I will BS for an hour and a half. I'll have AI create a transcript. I'll take the transcript, paste it into one of the AI engines and say, make me a list of every company we mentioned with the link to their sites.
So you don't have to either go back and listen
I don't want to listen to
or
pay attention
try to
along the way.
remember.
Yeah. So in this case,
That's cool.
I think the platform that you use, the Lisbon, that generates a transcript on its own. But you could, so like when I say Tammy is going to go like share this particular episode on Facebook, you could take the transcript, drop it into an AI engine and say, hey, crunch this down into a social post that touches on 3 topics we talked about on this episode. And it'll go, hey, great, yeah, Stubborn German Podcast. First, Ostie screwed up the intro, and then Chris said something brilliant, and Jared is smarter than all of us. Listen now. And then it'll make a 1-paragraph thing, or however many words you specify, and you cut and paste.
I have put it into AI and asked for it. Give me all the highlights of this episode, and it never returns
blank.
anything. Yeah, it's just empty. It's weird.
There aren't
It
any.
doesn't work.
Because it's intelligent.
Right.
Shocking.
It's smarter than we are.
Well, we learned a term that we call actual intelligence, the AI, where it's like, So, there's definitely uses for it. Right now, Jared, near and dear to your heart, the country Billboard charts. You see that? The number one song is an AI-generated
I did see
song.
that, and it
No
really
way.
irritated me.
It is?
Yes, right now. And it's by an artist, if you will, called something Rust, Broken Rust or something.
Yeah, right.
Is it even a real artist?
No, it's
No,
a
it's
completely
just AI.
AI-generated thing.
No person
Nobody.
did anything on this.
Exactly.
Well, what they did is somebody went to a website
Yeah.
that you type in the prompt, and he put in like country song, and it's got like all the country song, stuff.
Yeah.
And described he wanted the singer to be a male with a raspy voice and whatever, and it generated this tune. And then he submitted it somehow to Spotify or YouTube or whatever, and it started to get some traction. And it's now the number one. Now,
Is it good?
well, it's interesting because it to me, it doesn't really feel like there's somebody like sweating and really feeling this song. But it's not a horrible song.
Yeah.
It's nothing I would really listen to. It's not really my speed.
Sure.
But again, our friend Rick Beato, the music producer, broke it down and found out that it's currently the number one on the digital download pay per play context of Billboard, which means to achieve the number one position, it needed 3,000 downloads, which isn't very many.
Right.
So it's kind of a hoax,
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Now, I did see, I couldn't bring myself to listen to it because I just was like, I don't want to support this. But I did see on YouTube where a real band covered that song.
Oh, yeah?
And so they learned it and played it. I haven't watched it yet. I do want to see that. I'm like, what does it sound like when a human band
Yeah. Because it is
plays
a song.
Yeah,
that-
right. Yeah. I imagine it's probably pretty cool to hear.
I
but-
bet that's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so to me, that's a great example because you can have an AI tool generate something that moves the needle like way down there real fast. And then you could listen to it and go, yeah, we'll learn that and play it. Or you can rewrite the words or change something. It's a good place to
make it
to
yours.
start.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, I was at that SEMA trade show.
Yeah.
And one of my functions was to MC a banquet. And in this banquet, it was the 40th anniversary of this particular chapter of the show, basically. And I needed a song for a video that I was doing. And what I wanted to use was ZZ Top's Double Back, which was from the Back to the Future 2 soundtrack, right?
Yep.
Great song. I didn't have the rights. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I used, I think it's called Sonus, that AI song generator. And I typed in, all right, generate me a blues, rock, high energy song about the 40th anniversary of the Hot Rod Industry Alliance. That's what the HRA stands for. That's what this thing was. And it came up with a song called 40 Years on Fire. And it was good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate that I like this.
Right.
But I kind of like this, right?
40 years on fire.
40 Years on
That's
Fire.
awesome.
And the lyrics weren't stupid, and the music was catchy, and I thought, if a real band played this, it might be pretty good.
That's
So
cool.
I had, if you follow my band at all, Far Route,
Who doesn't?
a lot of the advertising that I do on Facebook is I'll just post a logo or whatever, and I used to do every show would be a new logo that I would make of something. It was usually a movie or a television show or something.
Had the
something
font
related.
or whatever of that. Yeah.
And I would spend a lot of time in Photoshop
Screwing with all that.
actually making it from scratch. So at the very
They were very
most,
good. They were cool.
I might download a font just to get the font, but like the color and the shading and the this and that, I was making all of that by hand. And it was fun. I loved doing it, but it took time and it was work. And then I had people asking me, "Oh, what AI are you using to make that? Oh, does that just automatic? You just put your band name into some AI thing and it makes a Back to the Future
So
font?"
you
And I was
didn't
like,
even get the credit for it.
"No, I didn't use AI."
You're just
So
that
I
good.
kind of stopped doing it. I was like, you know what? I'm not even. People assume I'm not doing it, and so. And honestly, I probably could find some AI generator that would do a better job than me. But it kind of turned me off to the whole thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It does suck. I mean, and I was sort of running out of ideas, but it was like, Yeah, people think all this work that you put into doing something, and people think it's AI. So
It's funny because when we build at our shop, we'll build a car for a customer, and we'll talk to them about, like, what is it that you want? And one recently came to us, speaking of 80s, a 1984 Trans Am.
Sweet.
Right, cars, the three of us kind of grew up with. Not super popular when it comes to something you're going to, restore, but
Sure.
today they are, It's been a long time since 1984.
True.
But we are going to modify this car a little bit, so we're going to put different wheels on it, we're going to lower it, And I did the same thing in Photoshop. I took a photograph of this Recaro Edition 84 Trans Am, lowered it, expanded the wheel size, did a few things. And the same thing, they're like, oh, yeah, that AI picture sucks. It doesn't look anything like the real car. I'm like, that is the real car. And what we learned at this trade show is that there are people today, and they claimed it was the younger people. And the younger people, to me, that phrase, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's hard
younger
to say.
People today, whatever.
Right. Who is that?
Yeah. But there is becoming, and I believe it, a distrust of things that we see online.
Oh, yeah.
Of products and of things. Whereas if you go to a physical store or a physical, like in this case, a trade show we were at, and you can pick it up and you can hold it,
right.
Well, now it's real. I can buy it. I'm not going to get ripped off.
Yeah.
And I can gauge the quality and everything else. But AI can generate all these images and people just don't believe it.
AI might literally bring back like shopping malls and stuff.
It could.
I mean, I could see that in 50 years. That
no, it ain't going to be 50 either, by the way.
Yeah.
But what I think is really interesting is that, the brewing industry, where I could see, on the business side of things, you guys could definitely use some tools.
Yeah.
When you do analysis, like, what sold, what didn't, what time of year, what time of day are people buying certain things. I mean, any granular piece of trivial nonsense you want to discover, you can just download a whole bunch of numbers into it. It'll find it and show trends and stuff, which is really cool. But what you could do also is, and you might want to try this just for fun.
Yeah.
Take like all of your 18 different Black Beer Friday beer names and just run them through a thing and say which one's going to sell the most based on the name and see what it tells you.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because
that'd be fun.
It comes up with some pretty weird, crazy insights. But
yeah, I guess it would.
Grain of salt.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Distrust for what you see is not a new thing.
For sure.
If you go back, let's say 60-ish years, there was... See what I'm doing here?
I do.
Chris?
Love it.
Yep.
The obvious thing that people to this day argue about whether it's real or not was the moon landing. Did we fake the moon landing?
Obviously didn't happen.
NASA,
right?
billions of dollars, thousands of people. Did we fake it just to beat the Russians? What do you think, Kevin?
We definitely did not fake it.
Did not fake
we did
it.
not?
Did not fake it.
Okay.
We're going to get all kinds of comments on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. So here's the thing, right?
Why would they say that we faked it in the first place? Why not just believe it? Just because it's too big, too good to be true?
So today we have people that have latched on to a few statements that go back to the Apollo program and the first moon landing that try to disprove it based on these statements. And really, it's because fewer and fewer people today were alive to watch that happen.
Okay.
Right? Because it was, July 21st, 1969 when we first touched down on the moon. And when we look back at that, one of the statements is that we lost the technology to return to the moon. Because obviously, if we could go to the moon in 1969, we should be there all the time now.
Why can't we just go there now?
Still do it.
Right? Why aren't we there?
Kind of makes my head explode. Really, why
not?
Why is that a thing?
And the reason why people don't understand this is because they don't have the whole context of what was going on in 1969. Jared mentioned the Russians. This was as the Cold War was escalating. So the United States and the Soviet Union, and to some degree China, was in a competition where we were moving chess pieces on a board without fighting battles. which eventually turned into Vietnam and
Right.
a little
Actual battles, yeah.
Actual fighting.
But as we wanted to, the United States wanted to demonstrate superiority, and in the space program, if you remember, in 1957, the Russians beat us into orbit with the Sputnik, the Sputnik satellite. And the Sputnik satellite was this, it looked like a bowling ball with an antenna on it, and they launched it into orbit, and it buzzed around, and it beeped, and that's all it did. But they got it up before the Americans did. If we look before that a little bit, where did the American space program engineers come from? Germany.
Okay.
So, World War II, you have Adolf Hitler, you've got the Nazis, and they are pioneering rocket technology. So they created the V-1 rocket. Remember hearing that story?
Yeah.
In
Really?
World War II.
Okay.
And they created the V-2 rocket. And there was a guy, a German literal rocket scientist,
Yeah.
who understood telemetry and was able to make a fairly guided rocket. And the Germans launched a whole bunch of these things and blew them up over England and blew them up over different cities in Northern Europe, and with the intent of eventually launching them and winning the war remotely with rocketry. Well, it didn't go so well for the Germans, but when World War II ended, the Americans immediately grabbed all these rocket scientists. So Wernher von Braun was the key guy. We brought him to the United States, and then you had a bunch of other nuclear scientists, Enrico Fermi, and all these other guys. And they're the ones that created the first atom bomb.
Gotcha.
So it's funny, we like to think like the Americans were the ones that did this, but we did it on the research and the engineering knowledge of a lot of Germans and Italians.
We did it how we always do things. Just go in and steal the other people that
not
are
so
there.
much steal, but we fostered an environment.
Sure. Well, yeah.
If Wernher von Braun stayed in Germany, he would have been, prosecuted for war crimes. And,
Sure.
it would have been bad.
Yeah.
There's this, even to this day, there's this debate, like, is this guy an American hero?
Right.
Or is he a transplanted Nazi, right? Because he literally... But in von Braun's case, he's like, look, I was doing... He grew up being interested in rockets and developed rocket science and created the rockets. And he's like, I don't know what they did with them. Whatever. So by the 60s, we now have... so the Russians came up with their thing. It's orbiting in 1957. In 1961 is when JFK is looking and staring down the barrel of the Russians going, okay, the Cold War, there's a perception of like, we have nuclear bombs, they have nuclear bombs. So we got to establish some kind of dominance, and we got to get the whole world on our side. So Kennedy goes to Rice University in Texas and makes this speech saying, we do these things not because they're easy, but because they're hard. And we promise today that by the end of this, he didn't say decade, by the end of this decade, because he's got his Boston accent,
The decade.
we will send a man to the moon and return him safely before the end of the decade, before 1970. And this is in 61. And we didn't really have, NASA really wasn't even called NASA yet. and the guys at NASA are like, what did he just say?
Right.
We hadn't even orbited the planet yet. And now you got Kennedy promising we're going to put a guy on the moon. And so, of course, back then, the technology is nothing to what it is today. It's all analog. It's all wires and resistors and transistors. And how are we going to do this? So that's why it seems kind of unbelievable that in a short period of time, next thing you know, we're walking on the moon. But what people don't realize is that Kennedy authorized the complete opening of the American checkbook. Did not care what it cost.
Really?
We're just going to do this. That has never happened before, and it's
Right.
never happened since on anything. Not a single war, nothing has had carte blanche, spend it all, make it happen.
We're going.
We're
Yeah.
going. And the numbers are staggering. So there was 400 and some thousand people that worked on the Apollo program.
Really?
To get us to land on the moon. 20,000 companies made parts and developed process and engineered to be able to make this happen. Jared just smacked his knee on the
that
table,
hurt
right?
a lot.
Gonna be okay.
That's okay.
So when we
That's
finally
crazy. That's a ton of. I mean,
and the ramp up was ridiculous. Like the Apollo 1 you had Mercury and then Gemini and then Apollo, and Apollo 1 burned up on the pad, and we lost Gus Grissom and Ed White and Ed Chaffee. But
well, let me stop here there for a second. So is this that lucrative for all these companies to
for the companies
to do
it
that?
was.
It was
because they're getting paid.
But I mean, even just for I built a part that's going on a dozen rockets.
Government contract, man. You charge whatever you want.
Gotcha. All right. Yep.
Although John Young, astronaut, had a famous saying where he's like, "Yeah, we're going to go to the moon, made on a rocket ship that was completely made by the lowest bidder."
Yeah, right.
So there's that.
That's awesome.
You know how much Tang they sold?
That's Tang. So, here we are. We're gonna go to the moon, and there is no way that if the moon landing didn't happen, you could keep 400 and some thousand people quiet about it. There's no way you could keep 20,000. There's no way you could keep the astronauts and the immediate people. But it was so far-fetched, and it happened so quickly. The first rocket went in the Apollo program around the Earth a couple times, came back. The second one went up higher. The third one went each individual up until 11, which is the one that landed. The earlier ones were not manned,
okay.
and then they were manned.
Gotcha.
8 went around the moon. 10 went around the moon a bunch of times and came back. And then 11 landed on the moon. And then 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 were all scheduled to land on the moon. 13 didn't make it. They had that blowout of the problem. The cryo tank stirred and blew the side of the rocket out. But 14, 15, and 16 was the last one. So we landed on the moon 6 times. So if we were going to try and prove a point, why would we do it 6 times? We were there.
Yeah.
Then some of the technical things, like there's this famous scene where Apollo 11 goes up. You got Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin land on the moon with Michael Collins orbiting. And they're on the moon, and President picks up the phone and calls them on the moon. You ever seen this video? Right?
Yeah.
So Nixon is like, "Oh, hello to the astronauts on the moon. This is Richard Nixon." And you got Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong talking to him. And today, people say that's BS because my cell phone doesn't reach. Right?
Yeah.
I go in a
I can't even watch Monday Night Football without dropping the sideline report or whatever.
But what they don't realize is that phone, yes, it came from the president's desk in Washington. It was hardwired into a transmitter that turned it into a V8 or a UHF ultra-high frequency radio transmission. They got beamed up to the receiver on the rocket ship, and then they heard it in their headsets, and they responded. There's a little delay.
Yeah.
So they just don't understand the technology.
So it wasn't a hardwired phone like it would have been.
And it wasn't
if
a
you're
cell
calling
phone.
your neighbor or something. Yeah.
It was a completely different technology.
Yeah.
Then there's a thing called the Van Allen belt, which is this radioactive belt. It's about 2/3 of the way to the moon. And if you go through this, you're going to subject yourself to a bunch of radiation.
Okay.
It's dangerous. So people today are like, how did they get through the Van Allen belt? They would have all fried. Well, they would have if the spaceship didn't have like aluminum foil in it. The same. It's basically like getting like 5 X-rays worth of radiation.
Gotcha. Like all at one time as you pass through.
So no problem. They can make it through. But today they're like, oh, and they don't know. Even though it was low tech back then, it was still doable.
Yeah.
And the one that I love is there's this statement out there that says, NASA said we lost the technology to do that again. And what NASA was saying is, back in the 60s, when all these systems were developed, they created technologies to land on the moon. Audio recording, video recording, data storage, hard drives were created for that program.
Sure.
They weren't mass merchandised. They weren't. You couldn't go buy one at Best Buy.
Yeah.
It was theirs and theirs alone. And when the program got scrapped in 1972, they threw all that stuff away.
Right.
They're like, we don't need this anymore. We're not going to use it.
We're not doing it again.
So you can't go back to the warehouse, grab that old hard drive, and plug it in and go back to the moon because that piece of technology doesn't exist anymore. Now we have far better technology today.
I was going to say, how hard would it be if you said, I want to go to the moon
we could do it
soon? Yeah, you did it then, you could do it again.
What are the factors? And the biggest factor was in 1972, Vietnam War is raging. We have an economic situation where a lot of people were out of work, and they couldn't understand why we were spending so much money to go to the moon on television instead of helping people on the ground. And it became politically unfavorable to continue to spend money
on
to come
that.
back with a bag of rocks, or that's what it appeared to be, or to have bragging rights over the Soviet Union. So the whole program got scrapped. The shuttle program came out, which was a reusable craft, and they were able to do things and fun stuff. But today, the only inhibitor is the cost, because that back then, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Still is. But now we have SpaceX working with NASA to go back to the moon. And, it's a far more reachable goal, even though we do have to kind of relearn a lot of stuff because, again, some of that things we learned got shelved.
Sure.
But to me, one of the greatest things is the big question, so why? Why do we go?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, was the bragging rights over Russia and China
It was big.
worth it at that time? I mean, I was a kid, so
It was. You
you
weren't even.
I was
a kid
not
yet.
but
You weren't even
far
there
after.
yet.
I mean, it was like a.
So it certainly was. And another thing that we tell the naysayers is that if we didn't go, the Russians would have clearly proven that we didn't. They would say, "You're full of crap. You didn't go." But they knew we went. They went at the same time. The same week that Apollo 11 was going to land on the moon, the Russians had an unmanned craft that was going to land on the moon, and it crashed.
Oh, really?
So they were humiliated because theirs didn't work, and ours did, right? So the big question becomes, why do you want to go? And there's an astronaut named John Young, and John Young was he flew Gemini, Mercury, Apollo, and Space Shuttle. So he was in all of those early programs. He was a scientist and a pilot. And before he died a few years ago, he gave a speech about one of the prospects of going to the moon, one of the reasons why. Follow this. So today, and he said this probably 10 years ago, which is even more amazing. Today, we could come up with a craft that could fly to the moon and land on the moon and start 3D printing robots, basically, and scoop up the minerals and the dust of the moon and use that as a media to start 3D printing mirrors. Now imagine if these machines start copying themselves and printing these mirrors and making an array, a giant ring, and then eventually multiple rings of mirrors, hundreds of miles around, right? That are harnessing the sun's light that lands squarely on the moon and aim it straight back to the Earth and focus it, right? We could capture that high-intensity sunlight and power the entire planet with electricity forever.
Yeah.
And the receiving end on the Earth could be a 30-mile wide ring, so it's not so focused it starts a fire,
right?
When you're
Right.
burning ants with your magnifying glass.
You know how many ants you could kill with that thing?
You could walk right through it and not even notice it.
Wow!
But the first country that can establish that type of thing can harness and sell power to the rest of the world and turn off all the oil production, all the generators, everything. It all can come from the sun.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is possible is the moon and the Earth are locked in geosynchronous orbit, so their position never changes. We don't watch the moon spin up there.
Right.
It is locked in.
You always see the same side.
Yeah, you
of
see
it
the same
as
side, so you can focus back to the Earth. And I thought, holy, I never heard that before. That's insane. That's what these guys are thinking, what's possible.
Wow. Yeah.
And the next one is, there's stuff on Mars that could make batteries and could make other things that we need here, and same with some on the moon. But the amount of fuel it takes to launch from Earth and land on Mars is huge. But if you get to the moon and then go from the moon to Mars, now you don't need so much energy and thrust.
Because you don't have to go through
our gravity.
The
moon's gravity is 1/6 of what the Earth is.
So if you can get there and then go.
Set up a base, set up some time, get all your stuff together, get your people, and then kick off from the moon to go to Mars. It's a much easier ride than coming from here.
Sure.
So that's another thing, right? So it's really amazing, and it really kind of bums me out when people are like, "Oh, that never happened." That was shot in New Mexico on a soundstage,
right?
Because the shadows are all weird, the flag shouldn't stick out like that. On the Apollo 11 picture, when you got Buzz Aldrin saluting the flag, and the flag stands straight out, there's no wind, so why is the flag straight out? Well, the reason is
also
because,
no gravity.
Well, they put a rod in it so that it would
really?
stand out. They did, and it's documented. Come on, guys. So, to me, it's interesting, but it's a letdown of society.
I think you can explain all of the doubts that people have, but I do understand why there are doubts. There's so many things that, like, at first don't make sense, and how did they do this, and how did they do that, and how come we haven't been able to do it since? And if it's so virtually impossible to take off from Earth, how did this little craft take off from the moon to get back into orbit, with the first time? We didn't have trial and error to get that right. We didn't crash a bunch of spacecraft on the moon as they couldn't take off.
Sure.
So while I believe you, I get why people are so doubtful, right?
Sure.
It seems so impossible.
It really does, and it's mind-bending on what an achievement that was.
Yeah.
And, when you mention, like, how did the craft get home, and the way that whole system worked is they launched with a giant rocket, the Saturn V, and burned up all the fuel, and then a little small craft went there, and it split, and then part of it landed while the other part orbited, and then they had to time it to where the one on the moon jumped off and remated with the orbiting module.
And how much room for error was there for that?
Not much.
Really?
Very, very, very little.
Like
very little.
Within seconds? Or?
Oh, yeah, seconds. And so if you think about it, so the moon is basically 2,900 miles diameter. So you could take the moon and put, the one side of it in California and the other side is going to go basically in New York.
Okay.
That's how big the moon is.
Gotcha.
Right? And when we're orbiting that thing, the orbit, it was 60 kilometers is what the orbit was. And then the landing module, you get the command module that spins around. The landing module comes down and lands on the moon. Well,
and it didn't care where it was landing necessarily?
They had an idea of where they were going to go because we had studied it and had previous photography from non-landing missions.
Okay.
But we didn't know exactly what the surface was. And when Apollo 11 touched down, it's a famous thing that Neil Armstrong had less than 30 seconds worth of fuel, and he's deciding where to land.
No way.
Yeah.
And he's still deciding
where
to
land. He nailed it. Yeah, because he was a world-class fighter, war-trained fighter pilot. And one of the things I love is when you watch the telemetry of the heart rate and the blood pressure of these guys, of Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins, as Buzz and Neil were about to land, their heart rate is resting. I mean, these guys were nerves of steel. And it's because they trained for it. They rehearsed it, simulated it over and over again. For them, it was almost routine.
My heart rate's up right now just from hearing this.
Yeah. So, the time's clicking down, and they were having all kinds of computer problems because the computer wasn't very strong, and it's throwing these alarms, and the guys on Earth were like, I don't know if this is right or not, just keep going, and they could have aborted, but they decided to go. Anyway, they land, and where they landed was a little bit of guess. They weren't quite sure. Just kind of looked and saw, okay, how about right there? Boom, down. And one of the naysayer things is that, okay, so we see this footage of Neil Armstrong coming down the ladder. Well, who's shooting the video? There's only two guys up there, one orbiting. Who shot that? Well, the answer is there was a camera mounted outside that they just turned on and shot him coming down the thing.
That's too easy.
At the end, so again, 1/6 gravity, they had a small thruster that shot the landing module up into orbit to rendezvous back with the command module. And there is video footage of this thing taking off, and the camera tilts up and follows it up into the sky. And it leaves frame a little bit. It's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Well, that was remote controlled from Earth. And we didn't know exactly, the guy operating the camera gimbal literally had to predict the delay of the time. So he was off a little bit. And by Apollo 16, they had a machine on it that could follow. And so that one's perfectly framed. But there's that one. You read for 2 minutes, you'll find the answer. So it is pretty crazy. But that little thing had to launch and go straight up, and it did have some maneuvering, thrusters on it. But it had to click into the other module it's orbiting, at the exact right time, or they would have missed.
And if they miss, then this thing is just
gone
out there,
out into space. Yeah.
So they did
Holy
the math.
crap.
They did all the math.
So landing was the easy part.
Landing was the easy part.
I would say the redocking or whatever was
The rendezvous was part of it, and
the rendezvous
because of the way that the craft was designed. It all fit in this big tube that launched. And then when it got up into orbit, it separated, and the one actually came out, turned around, and re-clicked together. And then it went around the moon, and then came apart again, came back, and then re-clicked and did all that. So, I mean, all these docking operations in space that if a thruster stuck and it didn't work, you're gone. You're just going to off into the nowhere.
And there
it's
go.
over.
Wow.
And then when Apollo 13... they were getting ready to literally stir an oxygen tank. There's a stir inside the tank, like your big brewery tanks right here. They flipped the stir, and it shorted, a relay shorted, and it caused an explosion. Boom! Blew a panel out of the side. Now they're losing oxygen out into space. They got a problem. They don't really know what's going on. So they lost like 90% of the capability of the spacecraft. So they had to scrap the landing, figure out how to get around the moon, and then come back home alive, losing oxygen, losing battery power. Like the whole thing took a giant dump in space.
Wow.
And one of the great moments is when they're literally with slide rules and notepads doing the math, saying, okay, we need to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, but we have to do it at a certain angle, because if we're too shallow, we will skip off like a rock. And if we do it too steep, we'll burn up. So normally the computer does this.
Yeah.
We can't turn the computer on. We don't have any power. How are we going to do this? So the way they did it is using math, slide rules, having Houston confirm their calculations, and they almost screwed it up because when they came back, they forgot to recognize that from the moon they were supposed to have a full load of moon rocks. They didn't land, so they don't have the rocks. So they're like, oh, wait a minute, we're a lot lighter than we thought we were.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
So they reconvened, and the way that they did it was by time. So they said, okay, in order for us to get the angle right, we have to fire this thruster for 14 seconds. Exactly. And at the end of 14 seconds, we turn it off, we'll have the right angle. So how do they know 14 seconds? Well, they use this. So the watch I pointed to in my hand is a Omega Speedmaster Professional, which is the Moon Watch. This is the watch that was issued to not this one, but this model is the one that was used by the NASA astronauts. And they set the chronometer and they set the timer, and they watched the big hand go to 14 seconds, and the one guy counted down while the other guy worked the thruster, and at 14 he goes, stop, boom, done.
Wow.
And they made it.
Holy cow.
So that's the movie Apollo 13 you need to watch. Tom Hanks film. That's that whole story.
That's
which is still to this day an amazing movie. That
tremendous.
Oh, that's one of those you just can't breathe.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah,
that's wild. So I don't even know what direction to take this, but I have questions about Mars.
Yeah.
Not questions. But what do you know? Why you talk about
Mars?
why we would want to go to Mars?
The only thing that's interesting about Mars is that it's close, not proximity, but it's close to Earth.
It's the next.
In consideration of the size, the gravity, the day, time, the materials.
It's not on fire.
It's not on fire. It's not frozen.
Yeah. Okay.
It's possibly habitable.
Possibly, yeah.
And we've sent enough probes up there to find out that there was once water.
Okay.
And if there was once water, that means there could be life. Not saying that there's people walking around on Mars,
right?
But it could possibly sustain life with what it has.
Or there could have been at one point, or
right.
Yeah.
And there are people right now that, so NASA is literally training Mars astronauts right now.
Really?
And it's all women.
Really?
You know that? Yeah. Because women are lighter than men, and they eat less. So they're easier.
So less food?
They're easier to ship to Mars.
Oh, my God.
Ship them. Really? Nice. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
I mean, that makes
many
sense.
ways.
Well, I know some guys that don't eat much.
Yeah. But the theory is if we can inhabit that, then... so like the philosophical theory is we could have a lifeboat, we could have a second,
Yeah. If it hits the fan here, you'd have something out there to sustain life.
But I'm really tempted to sing the Love Boat theme song.
There you go.
The lifeboat.
There it is.
Sorry. Go ahead.
But I think the real interests are economic Again, if there's minerals that can power cell phone batteries and all kinds of stuff, and people can make billions of dollars on it, we're going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of what it is.
How long would it take to get there?
So Mars is like 250. No, it's a good question. The moon is 250,000 miles away from Earth.
Okay.
And
no problem.
Yeah, Mars, I think, is 5 times that. So
5 times that.
It's more than 5 times that. It takes a while. I don't remember what the current estimates are. I don't know.
What was
9 months to 2 years,
say
something
months
like that.
or something, right?
Yeah. Maybe a year or something like that.
How do you just live in a little capsule for
Benadryl.
a year?
Just zonk yourself
Benadryl.
out.
I guess. Right?
I mean, yeah. So you're not talking decades or even years to get there. It's months, which would not be fun. But
I think
also,
it actually might be in the year range. Somebody can check me on that.
But
I'm far more of a
doable.
early space program guy than
We're not talking cryo sleep or whatever. But
yeah. And there's a lot of people that I've seen interviews with who say, I want to go to Mars, and I know I'm not coming back.
right.
I'm just going to go try this.
Right.
Wow.
And we've got these 4K high-res images of the Mars rovers and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there.
So
Are you kidding me?
right, yeah. What would you do there? So, but like, send me there. Don't even worry about getting me back.
Yeah, I want to go and I want to set up a colony, or I want to set up something. I want to experience this, and this is what I want to do for my country. This is what I want to do.
Right. Help the next.
And I'm way
Mission,
more likely to just die right there. And
I mean,
probably not coming back.
yeah.
Well, so here's the next thing, right? How do you get back?
Well,
because rocket fuel, as we know it, is 2 elements that you blend together that create a violent reaction. They're liquids, hydrazine and whatever. Do they have that there in Mars? I don't know.
oh,
Right. So is there a nuclear option? Is there a way to have some kind of fission, or can we set up a reactor on Mars? That could generate power? I don't know.
because you can't have double the fuel on your.
No, it's too much. You can't carry that much. The guy that knows all
Crazy.
about this is that Elon Musk dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy is way into this stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things that always boggled my mind
I'll talk to
is
Call him. He'd be a good guest.
He would be.
when you think about the speeds that the shuttle or the Apollo rockets reached to escape our atmosphere. It's not 100 miles an hour. It's not 200 miles. It's not 500 miles an hour. It's something like, I'm throwing them out.
17,600.
I was going to say 14,000. Yeah, 17,600 miles an hour.
17,000
that your
miles an
body
hour?
is
Holy
inside
crap.
that craft.
Yeah.
Propelling forward.
Almost like you're
It's
in a rocket.
How do you not turn to jelly or something?
Right.
Like, it's amazing.
It's all
how
relative.
Physics and, yes, relative acceleration and all that.
Oh my God.
It's incredible to think. And as you've observed on the salt flats,
Yep.
that's an incredible rate of speed that's so dangerous. And
Yeah,
your body.
they're trying to hit 500.
Right. and this is
17,000
That's
plus.
nothing.
Yeah.
17,000 miles per hour. Yeah. You can't even fathom it, really.
It's a lot. And so I recommend anybody who's into this stuff, head down to Florida, go to the Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah.
They have the Astronaut Hall of Fame. I cried. I'm sorry. I walked in ahead of time.
Nice.
But they have a full Saturn V rocket hanging there overhead, and that's 330 feet long. I mean, it's a football field long.
Wow.
And that was the vehicle to achieve that 17,600 mile an hour escape velocity. They also have some of the capsules, the landing stuff. You go to another building and there's a space shuttle hanging from the ceiling.
Really?
I forgot which one, but one of the flown space shuttles is there. And Kelly and I went there just on a vacation. I've always wanted to go there. And there's a dude standing there. He's looking up at the space shuttle, and I'm like, that thing is unreal to see it in person. And he said, do you have any questions about this? And I'm like, yeah, I got all the
so
questions.
many.
And he's like, well, I worked on it, so what do you got?
What?
And he was a retired engineer that built
Wow.
the thing.
No way.
And him and I talked for like an hour. It
my
was so
God.
cool, just standing there. So
That's crazy. That's awesome.
there's so much to be excited about, to be inspired by, to be proud of, to be to acknowledge, to learn from in that whole program. And to get into the political side of, well, we could have, how many homeless people could we have fed with all that money? Well,
Sure.
probably a lot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the reason why you can hear us right now is because technology was
Yeah.
developed from that program. And when we landed on the moon and walked on the moon, the entire planet was connected.
Yeah.
And of course, our actions, we screwed all that up afterwards. But nothing else, did that. So it bothers me when people say, "Oh, it never happened. You're full of
Yeah.
crap." No, you know what? There's so much evidence that shows that it certainly did, and there's so much to learn from. And just by doing the math and the perseverance and management. So Gene Kranz was head of mission control, personal hero of mine. He's the guy who famously said, "Failure is not an option."
Yeah.
That was from Apollo 13 when that whole thing went sideways. Apollo 1 had a fire. The guys died. Gene Kranz issued a speech called the Tough and Competent speech. And he said, from now on, NASA will be perfect. And everybody is tasked with being tough and competent. Tough to where if you see something that isn't going right, you say something. And competent, you're smart enough to fix it. And we will not let things slide. We will not let quality, slip. And so today in our shop, we have the words tough and competent written on the wall.
Nice.
And Gene Kranz said every engineer, every person that works here is going to write tough and competent on your chalkboard, and you will never erase it, right?
Yeah.
And he's also the guy that said, you want to get to the moon, you get the smartest people you can and get out of their way and let them take you there. And that's a management strategy that's brilliant, and
Yeah. Why would that not work? Yeah.
for sure. So
That's awesome.
you asked.
Yeah. That's so fun. I could listen to you talk about this stuff for hours. I mean, it's fascinating. I don't know. I haven't gone down the rabbit holes that you have, obviously.
I lived I'm a few years older than you are.
Yeah.
When I grew up, it was I watched the very first shuttle mission. It was piloted by John Young and Robert Crippen, and that is when the space shuttle, the whole point of the space shuttle was a reusable craft, and it launched like a rocket and landed like an airplane, like a glider.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And the fun thing about that is, as that thing was landing, it didn't have any power. You had one
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
If you got that wrong, you know how many they got wrong in 252 missions? None.
Really?
They landed perfectly every single
Landing,
time.
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
Like re-entry
yes,
and all that.
all the way
just
down, gliding.
Crazy.
No go around, no missed approach.
Yeah.
You have to get this right. And to me, that's a pressure that demands excellence. And it demands excellence from the pilots all the way to the first person that turned the first screw.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And like both of you guys, I appreciate those who are the best at what they do, the Michael Jordans and,
Yeah.
all these people
Yeah.
that are the best, right? Well, what is it about them? Well, NASA was full of the best.
Just a whole group of
And
Michael Jordans.
Right.
Yeah.
And believe me, they screwed stuff up.
Yeah.
But they had the perseverance to get it right and fix it. And it's amazing to me. It's unfortunate that we had the Challenger explosion, so
Right.
we lost 7 astronauts there, and then
For sure.
we had the other one later
Columbia.
on, the Columbia explosion. We lost, I remember it was 5, I think, on that one. And Apollo 1, we lost 3. But out of all the missions that were flown and all the stuff that was done,
Like those were the only.
those were the only fatalities.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's horrible.
yeah, absolutely. But to
But
say that
more people probably perished in car wrecks during this podcast
Yeah.
than
than those
that whole program.
dozen people or whatever.
Yeah.
For sure.
And for Kennedy to have that confidence, and he admitted later he had no idea what he was talking about also, but to make that public claim that we're going to the moon and we're going to come back safely before the end of the decade, he laid it out.
Yeah.
Took some balls, and we backed it up and made it happen. And that's really cool. And I don't think people do that enough today.
What are your thoughts on, and this is a whole other podcast we can go down, but what are your thoughts on, and you've touched on it, the SpaceX stuff? So that's sort of like a whole new
It's
branch off of the space program.
It's private
They're
industry.
doing amazing things.
Yes. So SpaceX is privatization of NASA.
Yeah.
So it's Elon Musk. You also have the Blue Origin, which is the
Yep.
Jeff Bezos, and there's a few other companies that are doing their own privately funded space.
Are they like
initiatives.
pulling NASA people over to them? Or?
Well, like SpaceX, for example, they develop their own rockets. They've got their own crews. But they rent the same launch pads that
Yeah.
NASA uses
Oh, really? Okay.
in Florida. And then they work hand in hand with NASA. Elon Musk is not, he's a smart guy, so he gets a government contract to say, hey, NASA, I can get your next satellite into orbit faster than you can.
Yeah.
So you hire me and my rocket and we'll go do this.
Nice.
So our next moon landing is going to be a SpaceX-powered flight.
Yep.
I think it's awesome.
That's on the books, right? That's
supposed to.
And they're already doing the whole return. They're grabbing this rocket out of the air and gently setting it down on the pad. I mean, it's amazing.
It's even more elegant than that. I mean, it does land on its own, and then the mechanism just kind of supports it.
Yeah.
That is straight out of science fiction.
And what does that thing weigh? That's just gently...
It weighs a lot. It's stainless. I think the actual rocket tube, so it's pretty heavy. A friend of mine, getting back to the racing side, I don't know if you've ever heard the name Dan Gurney, but
I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, Dan Gurney was an American hero. He was a racer in the 60s, 70s. He won Le Mans, beat Ferrari. Okay. He was one of the guys behind the wheel.
Gotcha.
His son, Justin, owns the Gurney Corporation today, and they make the carbon fiber tripod fins that spacecraft lands on.
Oh, no way.
In California, yeah. It's unbelievable. But there's good and bad. I mean, one of the things I heard recently is the amount of satellites that are up there right now is starting to causing some problems. There's too much junk floating around, in the atmosphere and in low orbit. And SpaceX...
They don't just say, oh, that one's out of date, let's bring it back. They just, leave it up there and let's launch another one or whatever.
Eventually it'll fall.
Yeah, right.
SpaceX has the Starlink communication system, which is internet, satellite-based, which is brilliant. Musk has donated that to a lot of different areas of the world where they were ravaged by floods and fires in Ukraine and everything. Just put them up there, let them have it, for free. But that is supposed to be turning into such a quilt of connected satellites that it might be a problem at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
Sure.
I tend not to get into the political side of this stuff. I just love the willingness, the technology, and the thing where it's like, so this watch that I have, it's a reissue of the Omega Speedmaster Professional, and my wife got me this for Christmas a few years ago. And the fun thing about this, I love the watch because, again, it's the only watch that NASA ever approved. And they went and tested a whole bunch of watches. They tested Rolex and they tested Bulova and all these different things. And this is the only one that passed all the shock tests and everything to be worthy of being in space. So if you look at any of the astronauts, they all had them. They had to give them back. They couldn't keep them.
Oh, no way, really?
So, they were issued. But she gave me this one, and I opened the box. I couldn't believe it. I'm not really a watch guy.
You knew right away?
I knew immediately what it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
But it freaked me out because, again, I'm not really a watch guy, and it's a nice thing, and I didn't want to ruin it. But this is in 21. The warranty in-service date was July 21st, 2019, which was 50 years to the day of the 11 moon landing.
No.
Yeah. Blew my frickin' mind.
Did she do that on purpose?
She did it on purpose.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
She's a keeper.
We all know that.
How did she do that?
Her and our friend Grady did it because Grady's a watch guy, and the two of them collaborated and figured this is something special, right?
Good time, Jimmy?
Good time, Jimmy. So she gave me this watch, and she said, I want you to look at this and always remember that anything's possible.
Wow.
All right.
And that's the Apollo program to me. That's... anything. I don't care. What do you want to do? You want to go to the moon?
So now you're a watch guy.
Yeah.
It's, on
We
your,
can do it.
it's on your hand every day.
I'm not really a watch guy, but it's never leaving my arm.
I was going to say, why would it?
That's awesome.
Exactly. So thank you to my
That's
lovely
awesome.
wife. Yeah, for sure.
All right, one last question. So do you know the date of the next moon landing?
They keep moving it.
Oh, okay.
They keep moving it.
So is there a year or is there a...
It was supposed to be this year. It was supposed to be in 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But they've had some challenges, some setbacks, and honestly, it's a collaboration between SpaceX and Boeing and NASA.
Okay.
And the Boeing, it's actually called the Starliner is the name of the Boeing capsule. It sits on top of the big SpaceX rocket, which is the Falcon Heavy 9, I think. There was some issues with Boeing's production, trying to get it together, and a few... Do you remember over the summer that story that we had astronauts stranded in space that couldn't get home? Right?
Yeah.
That was that. There was
Yep.
that piece of hardware
Gotcha.
had some problems. So yes, they need to sort that out.
So we got to fix that.
yeah, and they will. But
So
then
it gets pushed back a year or so.
I'm
or
gonna.
what do you think?
My best guess is early 27. Is what I'm
Yeah?
going to say.
So you going to go
you
down?
Can look it
and
up on,
you going to go to Florida? Or?
Yeah, so Cue Ball and I actually talked about going down. And in years past, it's kind of funny because Jared's a big Corvette fan. Astronauts and Corvettes go hand in hand.
Sure.
And especially in the early days. And what the connection was is there was a dealer in Florida that recognized there's like really not too many people cooler than astronauts. You know,
Right.
especially back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had fighter pilots, but, astronauts.
Yeah, those are cool.
So this
Brewers.
brewers, for
Brewers.
sure.
Well,
Yep.
astronauts, then brewers. They're right.
Podcast producers
Well, you're looking for a Corvette.
and astronauts.
And astronauts.
So-
All right there.
This the Chevy dealer said, "Hey, we're gonna for $1, we're gonna sell Corvettes to the 3 astronauts of all these Apollo missions for some publicity because
Yeah.
they deserve to be
Sure.
in a Corvette, American icon." And those cars are still around. Some of them are in museums, and
Yeah.
1969 and 70, 71 Corvette, 72. And what they would normally do is they would come in 3 colors. It'd be a red one, a white one, and a blue one. And they'd have a stripe on it that matched the insignia of the mission, right?
Oh,
It's
cool.
just totally cool.
That's awesome.
And on a V8 radio podcast, Cue Ball and I were talking a couple of years ago about how bad would it be to get some new Corvettes for the guys and gals that are going to go to the moon the next time.
Yeah.
And which turned into, how do you book that trip? Because there's a lot of places where you could get a hotel room or you can camp. Kelly and I would bring our camper down.
Yeah.
But when you don't know when this is going to be,
Right.
Right.
it's kind of hard to do. So we're kind of watching the calendar. I would love to see the launch. We'll see.
If it works, yeah.
Yeah, just timing. You should go.
I'll go. You want to go? We should
Remote
podcast from
podcast down
from
there. Let's
there.
do
Yeah.
it.
So go watch Apollo 13 for
Okay.
sure.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Call me when you do. I'll bring the Kleenex. And not for my nose, because I always cry. And then there's a series that PBS produced in the 80s called
Okay.
Space Flight. It's a 6-episode series. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's narrated by Martin Sheen.
Okay.
wow.
Awesome. And that is the genesis of the space program all the way up through the shuttle and tells you the whole story.
Space flight.
Space Flight, produced by, I think, WGBH in Boston, PBS. It was VHS. It's not it's not high def. It's not,
Yeah.
Omnimax, but you'll find it on YouTube.
Okay.
Great soundtrack. Great. It tells the story of the Russians. It tells the story of Werner von Braun. All the crap that I just gave you, it's all
Yeah.
there, but accurate when they tell it.
Cool.
I would say also, because it's so divisive these days,
Yeah.
the politics of it, and when you throw that name in there, Elon Musk with SpaceX,
For sure.
wherever you stand on that, do your best to forget all that. Look at the achievement of what they're doing, the history of what they're doing, what the future. I mean, it's amazing what SpaceX is doing. Forget any preconceived notions you have about the guy behind it. It's pretty incredible when you see what they're doing.
It really
For
is.
sure.
And we're going to throw a nod to Chuck Yeager, who was an American hero fighter pilot who did not end up being an astronaut. And it was really an interesting thing because Chuck Yeager flew P-51 Mustangs all over Europe and shot down all kinds of bad guys and did the whole thing. And as the Gemini and the Mercury program started, Chuck Yeager was a little vocal about how you don't really fly that ship. You sit in it, and they launch you, and then you land.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, well, then you don't get to, right?
What?
So Chuck Yeager was never an astronaut and kind of bitter about it
Because he kind of talked to him. He made a comment.
because he was such a tremendous pilot, and he felt
Oh.
a
Yeah.
pilot flies the
flies.
craft. An
Right.
astronaut goes along for the ride. And
Yeah.
that's a fun rabbit hole to go down to read
That's
about that.
that's nuts. I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that. That's crazy.
But you know what you did hear?
What did I hear?
The German word of the day.
Oh gosh.
Oh, wow.
The German word. I don't even.
So,
wanna,
by the way, thanks for. We did touch on a couple German things. Not much on booze this time.
no, but that's okay. Well, I don't know. What was it? 4 episodes ago?
Yeah.
At the very end of a second episode, you got into about a 10-minute nice little rant about the moon landing and NASA and all that. And I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
this could totally be an entire
it's-
episode. So
I'm
I'm
all
glad we
listen
did
to
it.
Kevin talk forever about it.
yeah.
It's awesome.
No, this was great.
Tell
So-
that to my wife.
Before you get to the German word of
yeah,
the day,
yeah. Go ahead.
and you talked about booze, and I know it's too late now. You're not going to hear this episode for a couple weeks, but the bourbon of the week
Yeah.
is Ardent Spirits. I know it's a
Robust-
cigar blend. What is it?
Robusto, cigar
Robusto.
cigar blend. Yeah.
Cigar blend. This is excellent.
It's very
This
good,
is
isn't it?
so good.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you can get it here or go out to Collinsville and get it there,
I think by the time this is all we have, that's
Yeah.
the bourbon of the week, so we're going to be zapped
Yeah,
out of
you'll be
it.
out.
I think, but go to Collinsville,
Yep.
go to Old Herald. You can eat there. They've
We
got
like
a,
that place.
Yes,
And they're good people.
They've got
They're
a
friends with
brewery
the-
and a
Yep.
distillery.
Yep.
And the cigar blend, I think, was finished in a cognac and a sherry barrel. I want to say.
I think that sounds right.
Both, and then blend it back together. So it's made extra flavorful in order to pair well with a good cigar.
And
But
it
we
is
don't have
very,
a
very
cigar,
good.
but it is
No.
freaking good.
Yep.
so,
So get it
good
if you
stuff.
can. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Go to Collinsville and do that. Okay.
Back to the German word of the day.
German word of the day. You must
Reason
mean
you're here.
Auftritt.
Right. What did you say? I don't remember what I
Auftritt. Kevin
I don't remember
said,
what I said.
"See you later, alligator."
See you later, alligator. That sounds about right.
And what I meant by that was
Is pastime. Yeah.
pastime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
So baseball is the American Auftritt.
Pastime. Okay. Great. Those were both great guesses. Jared said it meant off the cuff.
Off the cuff, of course.
Trying to make any of this make sense. No, but Auftriff. If Jared had to go on an Auftriff on Saturday night, that means he would have a gig.
Oh, wow, a gig.
It's a gig. It's a
Outtrip.
So
performance.
much easier to
Interesting.
say Auftritt
Okay.
than gig.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like,
Wow.
oh, that's really
This
funny.
is a
that
really big Auftriff.
instead of
Yes.
just saying gig, it's
just say gig.
Auftriff.
Where did gig come from? What is it?
I don't know.
Short for something, or it
No,
means?
I was
gig?
trying to incorporate
That is
a
a
Jared
great
thing
question.
No, I
into
appreciate
the
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I had
yeah.
carburetor
No, I
on
just
the
mean
last
the actual
episode.
word. Where did gig come from? Like, where does?
Oh, I don't know.
Where did we all?
I was wondering
Why
that
do we
too.
call
It's
it a
like-
gig?
Job, gig, gag.
It's got to be short for something, right?
Now, is this related at all? Like frog gigging? Don't you gig a frog?
That's a job.
Yeah.
You do a quickie on the frog. You gig them. I don't
Gigging.
know.
That was a
All
job.
right, that was a
I
job.
did the job over by there. I had to
Over
gig
there by
that
the-
frog.
I gigged that frog.
Frickin' 2 legs and everything.
Up in
Kermit.
Chicago, we gigged the frogs.
That's right. Over by there.
All right. Wow.
That's great.
Well, next time I hope you guys give me some time to prepare because
yeah, you had nothing.
Yeah. If only you had something to say.
my apologies.
No.
as I've always said, and to many people, I've always said, Kevin Ostie can draw the most interesting things out of a freaking rock.
Yeah.
So
It was riveting. It was a very good content. So
Glad you enjoyed it. It's
Yes.
fun to share that
It
stuff.
was
I don't
great.
get to share NASA stories at work anymore because I've burned too much time of other people. And Kelly's like, no, just get back to work.
stop talking
Yeah, yeah.
rockets.
They can look it up. Jeez.
If they're into it, they'll do it
Yeah,
later
right.
on their
Yeah,
own
let
time.
them go. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to the NASA channel. And maybe next time we'll talk about brewing again.
Right. Oh, we make beer here?
Yeah, right. Come on down. Enjoy one. You could do a stout called V2. I wouldn't do it.
yeah, right.
Apollo? We'll figure that out.
We will.
Anyway, this has been the Stubborn German podcast. Please subscribe, enjoy it. If you don't like the content, you can skip to the next one, to the previous one, right? You have the luxury. We welcome you to do that too. For Mr. Chris Ron and Jared Chasson, I'm Kevin Ostie, reminding you to subscribe and say Prost.
Prost.
We are recording.
Me.
Oh, is that right? Is that a good idea?
Well,
We'll find out.
This bourbon smells good.
Hey, wait, are we?
So
Oh,
does
no,
your
that's
microphone.
my microphone. It smells musty and
It smells like
They're hilarious. Are we doing the
smells like chutney and burnt hair.
outer space episode now?
okay.
Or what are we doing?
Off
Sure.
the cuff.
I don't know.
I
We'll
mean,
figure it out.
we could come up with something to say.
Land where we land.
All right, I'll set it up.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay.
You start the show?
No, you start the show.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
This is the Stubborn German Podcast. I'm coming to you right now. From the Stubborn German Christ. Oh, man.
Is this the first or second episode? I wonder.
Let's have you guess.
I wonder.
It's not only the second episode, it's also the one that's also on cough medicine.
Yes.
And not enough.